Kill is an Indian film from writer and director Nikhil Nagesh Bhatt, with dialogue written by Aisha Saeed. It's about a soldier who returns home only to find out that his girlfriend is about to be put into an arranged marriage by her father. So he joins the family on a train ride where he tries to find a way to get the two of them back together. But that might have to wait a while because bad guys are taking over the train now and he's going to have to kill them all. The teaser trailer says that this is the most violent film that India has ever produced, and that basically tells you all you need to know about the type of action in this. Well, that in addition to its very blunt title, which doesn't even appear until a long way into the movie, at a point where enough major plot stuff has happened that it really couldn't be considered prologue, but it comes in at just the right time to let you know that shit just got real. And after that, it turns from just a normal John Wick type movie to something that truly deserves the title of Kill. The action is pretty much non-stop once it gets started, like if John Wick had the pacing of Fury Road. Does it have much of a story? Does it matter? Its story is that one man goes through countless bad guys on a train. And that format is a great fit for India's tendency for action heroes that feel big. It's not as over the top as some others, it's fairly restrained with the smaller scale that comes with never leaving the train, and the action is gritty and realistic, or at least not as unrealistic as the kind of thing you'd see in other Indian action films, but the main lead is still a somewhat larger-than-life figure who you believe can take on all these people by himself. This movie is a shot of adrenaline, a fast-paced, violent action movie that doesn't stop to take a breath. It moves like a speeding train with no intention of stopping soon.
Friday, the 13th. You may only see it once, but that will be enough. Friday, the 13th.
Maxine is from writer and director Ty West, the mind behind X and Pearl, and he's finishing up the trilogy of those two with this. We've had a long way to get here, or at least relatively long since the first two were released in the same year, followed almost immediately by the teaser, but then the movie comes out 2 years later. And after all that, this is the weakest of the three, but it's still an entertaining time and a great way to wrap up this trilogy. It's about Maxine, the other Mia Goth character in X. It's the 80s, and after becoming a big adult actress, she's finally able to go to Hollywood. She's cast in a horror movie which she thinks can finally make her a star. But then people around her start dying and, well, she's sick in the head too and she's all too ready to fight back. This one feels more like a thriller than the other two. I think it's supposed to be more like a giallo as opposed to X's slasher exploitation tribute. And it's a gory, sexualized look at murder on the grimy streets of LA. And it brings to life the sleaziness of the city in the 80s. This isn't one of those 80s nostalgia movies. It makes it known that this was the era of the Night Stalker and the Satanic Panic, and places us into a city that's as grimy as the era it takes place in. It shows a lot of trashy stuff, but also love for its sleazy influences. In this world of trashy horror and porn, the real evil ends up being the purists. It should also be mentioned how this is coming out in a world where those same people have lowered their standards so much that they've turned their sights to the provocative nature of Disney. Mia Goth also gives a good performance, but in the end it never quite reaches the heights of the past two. It doesn't have the tension of X or the interesting downward spiral of Pearl, and it doesn't really add much to what we saw in the movies that came before the way that Pearl did. Although it does have a decent enough mystery, and it does serve as a great way to wrap up the trilogy. The ending makes it a great companion piece to Pearl, even if it is the inferior movie. And seeing both of these movies truly gives the full thematic scope of the expansion of X. I guess this movie was a little hindered by how great the past two were, but if you accept that it's the weakest, it's a good movie and a great way to wrap up this trilogy. Also, no, there's no news of a surprise fourth one yet.